Hello everyone. Today we will have gynec lecture and the diseases which were we had seen in last few lectures where you commonly infections, various types of infections, discharges, leukorrhea and STDs and all other things. Now today we will see diseases in gynec, but they are related with the urinary system. So we will study about the urinary diseases in gynec. The urinary system involves, you must know the basic organs of urinary system. Main organ is bladder, urinary bladder, and you should know the anatomy of urinary bladder and location, position of urinary bladder. Second important organ is urethra. It is connected to bladder, and urethra is very important because it is the external opening of the urinary system. So whenever there is infection or blockage in this urethra, that causes the obstruction of urine. So the organs, mainly important organs, are urinary bladder, urethra, ureter. These are the main organs. Nerve supply and vascular drainage, lymph node supply and other things you must study in your anatomy. So just clear your basics of urinary system. Just for revision, I told you the main organs, that is bladder, urethra, ureter. These are the main organs. Now normal pressure in the intraurethral pressure or urinary pressure is 20 to 50 centimeter. So centimeter of water. Like in balloon, what is the capacity to hold the water of that particular organ? It is called as the intraorganal pressure. That is the capacity to hold the liquid inside that organ, and usually for this urinary system it is 20 to 50 centimeter of water. So whenever there is increased pressure in the organ, naturally that organ will burst or that fluid will leak from that organ. See, for example, I told you that if we fill the water in that balloon, and if the capacity of balloon is not sufficient to hold this water, the water will leak from that balloon. Likewise, only in this also, whenever there is increased pressure on the urinary system because of any factor, pregnancy, tumor, any intra-abdominal growth, or excessive stress, exercise, work, after surgery, trauma, injury, anything which causes the increased pressure, that causes the involuntary passage of urine. So our first disorder is urinary incontinence. Urinary incontinence, it means the involuntary loss of urine that causes inconvenience to patient for day-to-day activity. That is urinary incontinence, that is involuntary passage or leakage of urine, and that naturally causes inconvenience and causes various problems for day-to-day activity. Also it leads to, because of the continuous leakage of urine, there may be local infection, genital infections. So that is the disorder, urinary incontinence, involuntary passage of urine. So now classification of this urinary incontinence, it is because of urethral factors or extraurethral factors. So urethral factors mainly responsible are urethral sphincters. Secondly, it is overactivity. Third, it is overflow. And next it is developmental or it is congenital defect in urethra. So these are urethral causes. Extraurethral are maybe it is fistula. We had studied fistula, rectovaginal, vesicovaginal. So for urinary system, urethrovaginal and vesicovaginal fistula, they are important. Urethral fistula also. So fistulas are very important. And other factors are maybe, as we had discussed, excessive work, trauma, injury, surgery, intra-abdominal pressure, pregnancy, especially ectopic pregnancy, because that leads to excessive pressure on the ureter. And so these are the things which are extraurethral, but those causes for the extra pressure, and that causes involuntary passage of urine. Next is stress incontinence. Stress incontinence, it is the involuntary passage of urine from urethra because of the sudden rise in intra-abdominal pressure. This is because of stress or excessive pressure on abdomen. So it is basically due to stress. Incontinence is usually seen because of intra-abdominal pressure, increased intra-abdominal pressure, conditions like ovarian tumor, ascites, excessive accumulation in thoracic cavity, that is hydrothorax, pregnancy, especially twin pregnancy, hydramniosis, because that causes excessive pressure, and also seen in menopausal patient because of the laxity of muscles. So that is stress incontinence. Some psychological factors are also there that may causes involuntary passage of urine. So that is urinary incontinence basically, and stress incontinence. These are the main things which are important while studying the urinary diseases. Now the causes for this stress incontinence, the main causes is mainly it is because of the increased pressure, as we had discussed. This increased pressure may be because of the factors which we had discussed now, pregnancy, ovarian tumor, large ovarian tumor, or any abdominal tumor, ascites, hydrothorax like condition. Also because of the trauma, injury by accident, or mainly after surgery also. After any major surgery like cesarean or any abdominal surgery, it may cause the involuntary passage of urine. Age factor we had studied, menopausal or mainly after age of 50 to 60. Also it is seen in obese patient. The exact cause is not known, but it is associated with obesity. Diabetic patients, usually it is stress incontinence is associated with diabetes. Also it is seen in because of the psychological factors just now we had discussed. Patients with constant anxiety, nervousness, excessive stress, that may cause the involuntary passage of urine. Now clinical features are patient complaint of loss of urine frequently and involuntary. Patient passes the urine while doing some light work or during exercise or during any activity. She complained of there is involuntary passage of urine. That is the main complaint from patient. Usually along with this passage of urine, patient may have slight burning, itching of genital organ. It is because of the deposition of urine on the organs, and that causes local infection. Because of infection, again patient may have fever, chills, so infective complaints may be there. So these are the main complaints of patient. Important complaint is involuntary passage of urine. Now clinical features, symptoms we had seen. Signs, general signs are usually normal. If patient is obese, excessive weight can be seen. If patient is hypertensive, blood pressure will be increased. And if there is increased intra-abdominal pressure like ascites or ovarian tumor, we can find the things accordingly. If pregnancy, we can see the or we can find the things. So clinical features or signs will be depending on the main thing is along with the associated factor. If age factor, if patient complaining of involuntary passage of urine and age is more than 50, naturally she will be at menopausal age. So this is the stress incontinence at menopause. Obesity we had studied, like excessive weight. So physical signs are usually normal. Other signs are depending on the cause, underlying cause. And local examination, we just do the local examination for any obstruction or stricture. In that we can see the involuntary leaking of urine, and if there is any abnormality or any infection, localized infection, we can see the infection at the local examination. Now for investigation, we do all the routine investigation. We do urine routine microscopic to see the infection in urine. If necessary, we do urine culture if there is infection. There are some tests, Q-tip test, pad test, mid-strip urine examination, urinary diary. We advise to maintain the diary that we called as frequency volume chart or urinary diary. In that patient records the output. Then important is that test is called as cytometry. In that, changes in the bladder, the filling of bladder and voiding of bladder is recorded. So all these tests are advised for this incontinence. Depending on this test, usually the line of treatment is decided. But mainly for this, we grade the patient clinically. According to grade of incontinence, we decide the line of treatment. Grade 1 is incontinence on coughing or sneezing, that is passage of urine on coughing and sneezing. Grade 2nd is involuntary passage or incontinence of urine while doing exercise or some work, and some work or any activity during a day-to-day activity. And grade 3rd is incontinence or involuntary passage even with rest. If patient is resting, if patient is calm, quiet, still there is involuntary passage of urine. So that is 3rd grade, and it is usually needs a surgical treatment. So now a treatment part is prevention and cure. As we had discussed, prevention is always better than cure. So we give the proper diet, about the proper diet, and mainly to avoid the excessive fluid during the night time, and we give the chart of fluid consumption, and we advise for proper diet, exercise, if obesity, treatment according to that. If patient is pregnant, then no specific treatment is required because this will subside after the pregnancy. If there is tumor, a large tumor, ascites, then that should be treated. So treatment is decided actually with the cause. If there is a particular cause for the incontinence, then removal of that cause is sufficient to cure the complaint. If there is patient have large abdominal tumor, so removal of the tumor will naturally removes the complaint. So treatment depends on the cause. Still, for grade 1 and grade 2, we just give the preventive line of treatment, that is advice for diet, exercise, and some medicines, some hormones like estrogen. Estrogen hormone works very well to control the sphincter action, and it is very important for the incontinence. So low dose estrogen is started, especially it is given at the menopausal age or patient with age more than 50 to 55. It do a great job, and patient cures with hormonal treatment for 3 to 6 months. So estrogen can be given. There are some drugs which are given for the incontinence. They actually improves the tone of urethra and bladder, and because of the increased tone of urethra and bladder, the patient's holding capacity is increased, and naturally that will stop the leakage of urine. Impermine is the tablet which we start actually 10 to 25 milligram. It is given twice a day, but you can write the tablets for increasing the power or sphincter muscular tone of bladder. To increase the power of urinary sphincters and also to increase the muscular tone of bladder, we give some medicines. Estrogen, as we had seen, the hormone estrogen is given for 3 to 6 months. This is the medicine. If patient have infections, we give the antibiotic for infection. So this is the medicinal line of treatment. If patient is at 3rd grade, there is continuous leakage of urine even while rest, so it needs a surgical treatment, surgical repair of the sphincters and holding of these muscles, that is called as surgical repair. And various types of surgeries are there for repairing of this incontinence. Depending on the site of surgery, there are various types of names of surgery. So usually we had seen the suspension surgery to tightening the ligament of uterus, especially in retroversion and all. So like that only there are surgeries to tightening the urinary sphincters that can help for the incontinence. So various types of colposuspension surgeries are indicated that increases the muscular tone of bladder and sphincter. So that is about the urinary incontinence, stress incontinence, various types of causes, clinical features, investigations and management. That is incontinence. Like that only there is a term which is urge incontinence. It is the second common cause of urinary incontinence. Usually it is seen in the adult females, and it is because of the overactivity of bladder, because of the history of some drugs, medicines, and usually it is urge incontinence. Patient have excessive urge and patient cannot hold the urine, or patient is very at the urge and patient passes the urine. So that is usually mainly it is because of some psychological factors. After surgery, after any major operative things, or after delivery, likewise after any tumor or large mass in abdomen, so after that surgery, majority of the urge incontinence factors are associated with some psychological reasons. As we had discussed, patient with any drug history, steroid history, that may also develop the urge incontinence, because the patient, if have the habit of alcohol, smoking or any drugs, then patient is very disturbed, and then that lady may develop this urge incontinence. Patient is actually very impatient and have various types of clinical features related to that. Among that, there is urge incontinence. Patient passes the urine. So mainly patient have very severe urge, and patient passes the urine at any time, and because of that, patient is psychologically very upset, and so psychological symptoms are there. Patient becomes fearful, anxious, doesn't want to go in people, and becomes very sad, depressed, avoids company. So mainly it is related with homeopathy. Again, it is a homeopathic topic. These incontinence and all these things are under homeopathic treatment. We can cure the diseases with homeopathy, because in allopathy, as we had seen, they had nothing to give. They just give the tonics or muscular improvement medicines or injections. They give hormones, or else they suggest the surgery. So again, it is the point for homeopathy. Now in this also, urge incontinence, various types of investigation we can advise, like from routine investigation, urinary diary, midstream examination, uroflowmetry, cytometry, all these investigations we can give. Treatment again is general treatment, that is psychological assurance. If patient have any neurological problem, if patient have any withdrawal of alcohol, withdrawal of drugs, so we can manage the patient accordingly. If patient is diabetic, hypertensive, treatment should be given accordingly. Now for prevention is always we advised, depending on the cause we give the line of treatment. And usually for this urge incontinence, usually there is no underlying cause, as it is because of side effects of some drugs or some habits, or after surgery. So we have to give the treatment accordingly. So that is urge incontinence. Again, if surgery is needed, we give the colposuspension surgeries, and we tight the ligaments, and then problem is actually resolved. So these are various types of incontinence. Next is urinary tract infection. This is the urinary tract infection which is seen with the mainly it is because of the bacteria. So usually these infections are because of bacteria, and bacterial infections mainly causes urinary tract infection with fever, chills, severe chills are there, and rise temperature, with pain in abdomen and burning of urination, that is dysuria, burning micturition. So it is very common disease in gynec practice, that is UTI, urinary tract infection. As we had discussed, it is mainly because of bacterial thing, but some other causes for this UTI are short urethra. With short urethra usually leads to repeated infection. It may spread because of unhygienic condition. Patients with improper knowledge about hygiene, that patients have repeated attacks of infection, sexual relationship, then repeated catheterization, repeated local examination, PSPV examination. So these things usually causes diabetic patient, because these patients have the tendency to have repeated infections, particularly urinary infections. So ladies with diabetes, they have the tendency of infection. Lowered immunity in cases like HIV. So in this also patient have various types of infections. Viral infection like herpes infection or other infections also have association with this UTI. So UTI, usually it is a bacterial infection, but sometimes it may be viral along with some other viral infection like herpes. So main causes are we had seen. Now if infection is at urinary tract, then patient will have clinical features, and the clinical features are pain and burning while urination. Secondly, patient have pain in abdomen. Next, patient have fever, high grade fever with chills. Sometimes she may have nausea and vomiting. Patient may have uncomfortable feeling and patient have very weakness, giddiness depending on the infective grade. On signs on examination, general examination, temperature, increased temperature. Sometimes if infection is severe, there may be shock-like complaints, shock-like signs, so hypotension, tachycardia, that things can be noted, or else UTI is a minor thing. Usually patient does not have major signs, just increased temperature is the basic physical examination. And investigation, we do routine investigation, and in routine investigation, if there is increased ESR, erythro-sedimentation rate, I guess you know the full form. So if there is increased level of ESR, that means there is infection in body. So basic test we do is ESR, that shows the infection in body, and after that we do the urinary examination, routine urine, and in that there are pus cells which can be seen. So depending on the pus cells, we advise the further investigation. If there is a huge collection of pus in the urine, then we advise for urine culture. In urine culture, we know the exact infective focus or which bacteria is there, underlying bacteria. So we advise urine culture. If necessary, we advise USG and other things. But these things are usually sufficient: routine investigation, hemogram and urine routine, and if necessary, urine culture. So these investigations we advise, and treatment is according to grade of this UTI. Grade 1 is actually it is the minor infection just involving the local organ, and there is fever and chill. Grade 2 is usually it is ascending infection, and patient have infection at the urinary system, but sometimes it involves the renal system, that is kidney also. So that is the 2nd grade, and 3rd grade is actually it is a general infection, it is spread in the body. So grade 1 is very easy to manage. Grade 2, as it involves the renal thing, so we have to be careful, so hospitalization is required. And grade 3 is as it is spread in body, so hospitalization with IV fluids and IV injections are required. So grade 1 we give the oral or tablet forms of medicine, and monitoring is done, and plenty of IV fluids, oral and IV fluids, oral liquid is advised for grade 1. Grade 2, injections are advised, injectable antibiotics, analgesics, and plenty of fluid, if necessary IV fluid if patient is hospitalized, and careful monitoring of renal system, that is kidney. So we have to be very careful in this grade. And grade 3, that is the actually it is severe grade, so we have to hospitalize the patient with IV fluids, IV injectables, antibiotic, analgesics, and monitoring of renal system. So patient with acute UTI is usually easy to treat, but if patient have repeated attacks of UTI, we should be very careful. We should prevent the infection by giving proper guidance, proper hygiene, and water intake. So all these things we have to counsel the patient in our prevention session. So UTI is a very common infection, but it should be treated in time, or else it will cause a renal failure like condition. Severe complication like renal failure can take place if there is repeated attacks of this UTI, urinary tract infection. So we should advise the patient for hygiene, for water intake, and for proper care of renal system. So these are the various types of urinary infections we had seen. Other urinary infections are vesico-vaginal fistula, ureterovaginal fistula, and urethral fistula that we had discussed in fistula. So these fistulas are also in urinary diseases in gynec. So these are the various types of diseases which have tremendous role for homeopathy. So you study the remedies for urinary system.